In this video, we will delve into the history of this 50-over tournament during 21st century, covering the significant milestones and records of the greats. Without further ado, let's begin and subscribe to Sports Hooked. The 2003 Cricket World Cup was a significant event in the history of the sport. It was the first World Cup to be held in Africa and featured a record number of 14 teams. The tournament followed the format introduced in 1999, with the teams divided into two groups and the top three in each group advancing to the Super Sixes stage. Sachin Tendulkar scored 673 runs, breaking his own record from the 1996 World Cup, thereby emerging again as highest run scorer. The tournament was marked by several upsets, with South Africa, Pakistan, West Indies, and England all being eliminated in the group stage. England forfeited their match with Zimbabwe due to political unrest, allowing Zimbabwe to reach the Super Sixes. Similarly, New Zealand forfeited their match with Kenya due to security reasons, enabling Kenya to become the first non-test playing nation to reach the semi-finals. Another shockwave came 2 days after the tournament had started, when Shane Warne, at the time one of the game's leading spinners, was sent home in disgrace after testing positive for a banned substance. The Pigeon Glenn McGrath would set the milestone of best bowling figure of 7 for 15 against Namibia at Potchefstroom. Also, this tournament witnessed hat-trick in very first 3 balls of the innings thanks to the Sri Lankan pacer Chaminda Vaas against Bangladesh. Then, Pakistani player Shoaib Akhtar set a world record for the fastest delivery in cricket history during the tournament, with an unbeaten 161.3 km/h delivery. Then David Shepherd of England finished this historic tournament with a record for the most Cricket World Cup matches umpired with 46 matches. Australia emerged as the eventual champions, winning all 11 of their matches and defeating India in the final. This was Australia's 3rd World Cup win, making them the only team to achieve this feat. The final was a one-sided affair that saw Australia dominate India from start to finish. Australia's openers, Adam Gilchrist and Matthew Hayden, set the tone for the match with a blistering partnership of 105 runs. Captain Ricky Ponting and Damien Martyn then consolidated Australia's position with a record-breaking partnership of 234 runs. Australia's total of 359 runs was their highest ever in ODI history at the time. India's chase was hampered by early wickets and a lack of momentum. Despite a valiant effort from Virender Sehwag, India was unable to keep up with the required run rate and were eventually bowled out for 234 runs. Australia's victory by 125 runs was a record margin in World Cup finals at the time, highlighting their dominance throughout the tournament. The 2007 Cricket World Cup was a significant event in the history of the sport. It was hosted in the West Indies and featured 16 teams divided into 4 groups. The top 2 teams from each group advanced to the Super 8 stage, where they played a total of 6 matches against teams from the other 3 groups. Australia successfully defended their status as the champions for the 3rd consecutive time, defeating Sri Lanka in the final. This extended their unbeaten World Cup streak to 29 matches. The tournament also saw upsets, with India and Pakistan failing to advance from the group stage, while Bangladesh and Ireland made surprising appearances in the Super 8. The tragic death of Pakistan coach Bob Woolmare overshadowed the tournament. His death was ruled suspicious, but an investigation failed to determine the cause. Following the tournament, the ICC distributed a significant amount of surplus revenue to its members, highlighting the financial benefits of hosting such a major event. 8 venues across the West Indies were selected to host the World Cup tournament. All host countries hosted 6 matches with the exceptions of St. Lucia, Jamaica, and Barbados, each of which hosted 7 matches. The Sri Lankan veteran bowler Muttiah Muralitharan would end this tournament as highest wicket-taker and least economy in this tournament as off-spinner. The final was a closely contested match between Australia and Sri Lanka. Australia, batting first, posted a strong total of 260 runs thanks to a century from Adam Gilchrist. Sri Lanka's chase was hampered by early wickets and a lack of momentum. However, a partnership between Kumar Sangakkara and Sanat Jayasuriya gave Sri Lanka hope. The match was interrupted by rain several times, and the target for Sri Lanka was revised several times. In the end, Sri Lanka fell short of their target by 53 runs, and Australia claimed their 4th World Cup title. The match was marred by controversy over the umpire's decision to continue play in near darkness. Australia's victory extended their unbeaten World Cup streak to 29 matches, and Glenn McGrath was named Player of the Series during his retirement tour and would end his career as all-time highest wicket-taker. The 2011 Cricket World Cup was a significant event in the history of the sport. It was the first time the tournament was held in India, Sri Lanka, and Bangladesh. Originally, Pakistan was scheduled to be a co-host. However, due to a terrorist attack on the Sri Lanka national cricket team in Lahore in 2009 and 9/11 incident in Mumbai, the ICC cancelled Pakistan's hosting rights. As a result, India hosted 14 matches, Sri Lanka hosted 4, and Bangladesh hosted 2. The tournament featured 14 teams, including 10 full members and 4 associate members with the likes of Ireland, Kenya, Netherlands, and Canada. The opening ceremony was held in Dhaka, and the first match was played between India and Bangladesh, which witnessed the brilliant knock by Virender Sehwag scoring 175 off 140 balls. Also, Sachin Tendulkar of India played in his 6th consecutive World Cup, equaling the record of Pakistani veteran batsman Javed Miandad. Also, the batting great, Ricky Ponting ended his World Cup career as most consecutive matches and wins as captain. The final was a thrilling contest between India and Sri Lanka. India, batting second, chased down Sri Lanka's target of 274 runs with 6 wickets and 10 balls to spare. Captain MS Dhoni played a crucial innings of 91 runs, finishing the match with a winning 6.
Dhoni finishes off in style. A magnificent...
Gautam Gambhir also contributed significantly with a score of 97. India's victory was celebrated by fans around the world, and the match is remembered as one of the greatest World Cup finals in history, with the middle-order batsman Yuvraj Singh clinching the player of the series, despite suffering from lung cancer. The 2015 Cricket World Cup was a significant event in the history of the sport. It was co-hosted by Australia and New Zealand and featured 14 teams divided into 2 pools. The top 4 teams from each pool advanced to the knockout stage, which culminated in a final between Australia and New Zealand. This tournament witnessed 2 double tons at the hands of the universe boss Chris Gayle and New Zealand's Martin Guptill, and highest partnership not only in World Cup, but in any ODI match by Marlon Samuels and Chris Gayle, with a second wicket partnership of 372 runs against Zimbabwe at Manuka Oval, Canberra, where the universe boss would hammer his maiden double ton in his very same match. The final of the 2015 Cricket World Cup was a thrilling contest between co-hosts Australia and New Zealand. New Zealand's score was hampered by early wickets and a lack of momentum. Despite a valiant effort from Grant Elliott, who scored 83 runs, New Zealand fell short of their maiden World Cup title as Australia emerged as the champions, defeating New Zealand by 7 wickets. This was Australia's 5th World Cup title, solidifying their status as one of the dominant teams in international cricket. The tournament attracted a large audience, with an average attendance of 21,175 per game. The final at the Melbourne Cricket Ground set a record for one-day cricket crowds in Australia. The 2019 Cricket World Cup was a significant event in the history of the sport. It was hosted in England and Wales and featured 10 teams competing in a round-robin format, where each team would compete against each other. The top 4 teams advanced to the knockout stage, which culminated in a final between England and New Zealand. The nations participated in this tournament were India, Australia, England, New Zealand, South Africa, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Sri Lanka and West Indies. The key records broken were most 5-wicket hauls and highest wicket-taker in single tournament, where the intriguing fact is that both records was set by same individual, that is Mitchell Starc. Then the skipper of the 3 Lions, Owen Morgan, would set the unique milestone of most 6s scored in an innings while scoring 148 off 71 balls against Afghanistan at Old Trafford. All the other venues used in the tournament were located in England, except for Sophia Gardens, which is in Wales. The final was a thrilling contest between England and New Zealand. Both teams batted first and scored 241 runs each, resulting in a tie. The match then went into a super over, which also ended in a tie. The final result was determined by the boundary countback rule, which favored England, giving them their first ever World Cup title. The 2023 Cricket World Cup was a significant event in the history of the sport. It was hosted in India and featured 10 teams competing in a round-robin format, similar to the previous edition. The top 4 teams advanced to the knockout stage, with Australia and India emerging as the finalists. The nations participated in this tournament were India, Australia, England, New Zealand, South Africa, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Sri Lanka and the Netherlands. This World Cup was noteworthy to remember as it broke numerous world records, with the likes of highest team score by South Africa against the Netherlands, that is 428 for 5 at Arun Jaitley Stadium, New Delhi, highest successful run chase by Pakistan against Sri Lanka, surpassing the target of 345 at Rajiv Gandhi International Stadium, Hyderabad. Then the lowest team total by ICC member in World Cup history by Sri Lanka at the hands of India for just 55 runs at Wankhede Stadium, Mumbai. Then it also witnessed the highest aggregate team scores by Australia and New Zealand with whooping 771 runs, where the Kiwis would fall short by 5 runs at HPCA Stadium. Not only that, the Aussies would break multiple records before their World Cup triumph, first with highest victory margin against the Netherlands by 309 runs at Arun Jaitley Stadium, New Delhi, then followed by highest individual score by any batsman while chasing against Afghanistan at Wankhede Stadium with 3 wickets to spare, where the record was broken by one and only Glenn Maxwell, who would also end this tournament with highest strike rate in any tournament of whooping 160.23. The World Cup final was a thrilling contest between India and Australia. India, batting first, made a quick start but lost wickets regularly, leaving them at 240. Australia's chase was hampered by early wickets, but a partnership between Travis Head and Marnus Labuschagne helped them recover. Australia cemented themselves as dominant cricket nation as they won their record 6th World Cup title, led by Pat Cummins and with the help of crucial knock by Travis Head, who scored 137 off 120 balls, joining the elite list of Aussies who hammered century during the final with the likes of Adam Gilchrist, Ricky Ponting and Damien Martyn. while the batting maestro, Virat Kohli, would finish this historic tournament as highest run scorer in World Cup history, amassing 765 runs by breaking previous tournament record of 673 runs during 2003 edition by Sachin Tendulkar himself. Then Mohammad Shami, as the highest wicket-taker in single tournament, would break another record of most fifers in a tournament previously set by Mitchell Starc, where the latter became first Indian bowler to claim a 7-wicket haul in a World Cup match. If you like this video, then do not forget to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel to know more about the chronicle of this reputed tournament.